So yeah, man. So I wanted to like do start up a mentorship group because like I get it. I got into this and like I think it dawned on me once I finally got like at the towards the end of my PhD and once I finally, finally got was like, oh, the the end is near, the light is at this end of the end of the tunnel. And I was like, you know what,
Jeez.
man, like through this whole process, I really didn't have anyone to lean on. I really didn't have any mentors to lean on. I didn't have
Right,
any
right, right.
really
Huh.
good advice, like people to give me like good advice in the space of like being black and STEM
Hmm.
and especially like in biochemistry and all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I was like, man, like I really want to start doing more outreach because that,
Yeah.
I really enjoy like when I got the chance to do it,
Yep.
I really enjoyed it. And honestly, it's hard doing outreach during COVID because you can't go
Yeah.
nowhere. You can't pop up at high school and say, "Hey, man, I want to talk to the
Yeah.
kids."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Hey, let's
nah,
get
man.
together and get in a small space, a room together.
Right, right. Let's talk. Let's
Can't
talk
really do
about this.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
no, we don't want to do that. So,
Yeah.
so I decided to do this. Reach out people who want to be a part of this mentorship crew, and I've got a crew of people who was like, we should do a podcast. Get the it's like you want to give advice, get the information out there. And this is
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody's listening to podcasts right now. This is a great way to get information out there
For
and
sure.
put
For sure.
information to people. And I was just like, all right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it then.
Podcast.
So
I mean, this is the time, like you said, people listen to it. This is the time to get content out there. So I'm glad you pulled the trigger, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just like, you know what, man? I don't know nothing about making a podcast, but we gonna we gonna try.
Right, right. You can still give it a shot. That's so
Right,
true,
right.
man.
Right, right. I mean,
That's so
people
true.
like it, but I have to, I have to get some promotional posts out there, pay for some promotional posts to get get some more eyes out there
Some
on it.
eyeballs on it. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Instagram tripping, as always.
That's how it is, man. That's how it is. They trying to make their money, you know.
Yeah, 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 but they ain't gotta suffer the algorithm for it, man.
I know, right? Like I actually miss when it was all chronological, man. I really do.
Yeah,
Remember that? You post that like your timing actually mattered. Like when you
yeah,
actually post it, people
yeah,
on it, and
yeah.
you the most recent one. That when they open the app, you
Boom.
the most recent one.
Yeah, yeah. I was
I
just
miss
like,
that.
yeah. It used to be a science to it.
Yeah, for
And then
sure.
now it's just kind of like whenever,
If they
wherever.
like you, if the algorithm likes you or not.
Yeah, the algorithm
That's
been
it,
hating me right now.
man.
It, it's
Man,
it's
it's yeah,
it's it's
yeah.
it's madness. It's madness. But it's you know what, man? It's all good. People who have listened have really enjoyed.
Right,
So that's all I can ask for at this point.
right. Yeah,
And then just keep on doing it, and as you keep on doing stuff, it hopefully it gain some traction.
planting seeds, man. That's what I say. I say it's like planting seeds. You know, food ain't gonna pop out of the ground, but you never know where one seed might end up. You know what I mean?
True,
It may
true,
not even be the whole tree, right? But just like one seed ends up somewhere,
right.
and it's like, yo, that made a difference for a group of people that catch wind of it.
Facts, facts, major
Yeah.
facts. Yeah, man.
So
But yeah, man. But hey, I say let's get into this. Yeah,
let's do it, man.
let's do it. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of At the Bench. Today it's just me, all the crew, they got lives and it's all good. But hey, we got a very, very special guest with us, Dr. Nehemiah,
Yes, sir.
creator of STEM Media. I am so glad to have him on the podcast. And listen, man, we we connected on IG,
Yeah.
and we and then you had me on your IG live, which was dope. It was cool. And it's come full circle. And I lived in DC at the time, and now I'm in bright sunny Texas. in this backwards state. It's a little backwards. They got issues. They got issues.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but yeah, man. I listen. Thank you for being on.
Hey,
How's
man.
it going, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. The honor is mine, man. You say special guest. I'm honored to be called a special guest. The honor and privilege is mine. I'm just happy to come on your platform, man.
Hey man, I appreciate you having the time. I know you're a busy man. You and well we called him the Hip Hop MD on the last podcast.
My
You and the Hip
guy,
Hop
Maynard.
MD,
Yeah.
yeah man, y'all busy. Y'all big out here. Y'all
No,
blown
man.
up.
Hey,
Y'all
well,
busy.
I consider myself to be among someone else who's also big out here, man. You, Dominic, and shout out to the crew who's not on this episode, but in their absence, shout out to them. Yeah, man. We're what is it? Symbiotically inspiring each other, man. As we all do our thing, we see peer over this podcast. Hey, it's inspiring me. So thank you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Hey man, listen, like I told Maynard last week. Listen,
Mhm.
y'all got K's behind y'all Instagram followings. Y'all out here. Yeah, y'all are out here.
If
Y'all
you
got
got the
K.
K, that's what it means. The K
Yeah,
K
yeah,
means you out here.
yeah. K means you made it. It was like, oh snap, K, 10K, 11K, 16. Okay, I
Oh
shoot,
man, that's hilarious.
y'all made the following.
That's hilarious, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But so let's really dive into it. So you have your platform, STEM Media. First off, when did it start? Where did you come up with the idea? What
yeah.
was the real purpose behind it?
Yeah, man. It started in 2012. So I was in school, man. Telling my age a little bit. I was in school in 2012, and I had just gotten to grad school at NC State. And one of the things, man, about me is that even though I was studying engineering, my background being engineering, I'm a structural engineer by trade.
Yeah,
I always had these creative outlets and these interests, right? Like no one listening to this, no one on your show has ever been one dimensional, right? Like we have maybe our technical pursuits, but we have other things we're interested in, our hobbies and things we enjoy. And for me, outside of engineering, it was always, the creative arts. I really enjoyed, I used to be in an improv drama group back in undergrad. I was the director actually, so came up with a number of the things we did. I used to sing in some choirs. I played the bass guitar, just a lot of creative outlets, right? And so as I'm doing this, pursuing also my PhD, I remember trying to think of ways, being in this new environment, that I can continue to flex some of those other muscles,
yeah,
right? And it was
yeah.
just at that time that I came across this particular campaign. It was an advertisement for a campaign called Engineering Stay With It.
Mm,
It was sponsored by Intel, MTV, Facebook. They all kind of got together, and the purpose of it was to encourage, engineering students to stay with it. So I'm like, all right, I'm an engineering student. I like this. It had kind of a nice little vibe to it. I thought it was cool, but they issued a challenge, man. They said, we're challenging students across the country to create a video to say why they stay with it. What are they doing to stay with it, and just generally promote engineering. I said, oh, I can do that. Here's the opportunity for me to kind of combine some of the creative arts, the creative interests that I
yeah.
had with the engineering that I was pursuing. So long story short, I got my homeboy. We filmed the day in the life video. The majority of people who entered this particular contest, they just did the talking head style. You know what I mean? Right to the camera. I'm
Hello.
like, yo, I'm about to make a commercial. So that's what I did.
That's what's
So
up.
I made my Nike commercial for engineering, and now I won the grand prize, man. I won the national grand prize, and so that actually was quite effectively the start of STEM media,
Oh
combining
wow.
the technical disciplines with the creative arts.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Oh man, and it's grown since then, right? I mean,
Oh, absolutely,
like
man.
big. Like y'all
Yeah.
doing some great stuff. Like I've seen
Thank
it. And
you.
I'm like, yo, man, this is amazing. Like the things that you guys do on the platform, because you guys do what is it a synopsum or a
Summit.
symposium
We do a summit.
summit. It was
Yeah,
the S word.
every
It was the
fall.
S word.
One of those S words,
Yeah,
STEM Success Summit
you're right,
is
right,
what we
right,
call
right,
it. A lot of S's in the name, actually. STEM
right.
Success Summit. Quite a bit of S's. But yeah, man, we started doing this. That's probably our most recent, I would say, flagship
Okay.
initiative,
Yeah.
and we bring together, thousands of young professionals in STEM, primarily consisted of Black, Indigenous, and people of color. and we're providing opportunities, man, to do mutual peer-to-peer networking, peer-to-peer mentoring. We're providing a lot of information and empowerment for how a person can navigate, their career in STEM through a number of influencers and well-known personalities throughout the community. And we started it. Here's the thing, man. We started it as a virtual summit right before not even right before, that misspoke, a year before the pandemic. So
Before
when
your time.
everyone wasn't really having like virtual summits, right? Because obviously when we went to lockdown, everybody had their virtual summit. Everything went virtual, right? But we were kind of ahead of the curve, which I
Yeah.
thought was pretty dope. That
Yeah.
we were when our second go round, it was sort of like, duh, of course we're gonna do this again. And so that was last year. We doubled our attendance, and
Wow.
now we headed to our third annual, man.
Oh man, that's amazing. That's amazing. Big ups to y'all, man. That's huge. That's huge. I mean, like, listen, we just all trying to get like you. We just all trying
Oh
to
man,
get.
no,
We
listen,
just all
bro.
trying to get like you out
I
here.
know they're pretty. Listen, they're prettier categories that I know you're killing me in. I can tell you it's probably arms, leg, back, shoulders. I can just tell you that right now. There are a number of
Uh,
categories you're killing
uh,
your boy in.
look,
Win, what I'm saying,
you know,
cardio, like whatever you want to call out.
yo,
I know I'm
listen,
trying to catch up and be like you in a number of areas, bro. So
man, I'm just trying to, it's my therapy. Shoot, the gym is my therapy.
yeah,
Actually
yeah,
doing this, like, so I was actually talking to one of my lab mates today, and
yeah.
she's another person of color. She's from Nepal, and
Oh,
yeah, we was talking. We was just like, yeah, like, because I was telling her how I was trying to find a black male therapist and how
right,
hard
right.
that's been, like, because a black therapist is hard in general to find,
Period. Yeah,
and
definitely.
especially the one that isn't booked up and looking for new clients.
Yeah,
Like, it's difficult, right?
yes.
And like we was talking about it, and she got on the topic of religion and why people use religion and as a sense
Mm.
of community, and
Mhm,
that's a sense
mhm.
of therapy. So I was like,
Right.
you know what, you got a point there. Like, I
Yeah.
kind of use, lately I've been using this podcast as like my sense of community, like with,
Yes.
with the
Yes.
other crew and whatnot, and being able to talk to people. It's, yeah, yeah, being able just to talk freely,
I dig it, bro.
and just, just hang out with
That's
some
it,
people.
man. Is you can get, therapy. A lot of things we do is therapeutic. And I actually agree with you, man. You lean into those things. So, a lot of times people are like, "Yo, I can't find a therapist," which is, true. And that's
Yeah,
something, you continue to do. But as you said, you found something that is as well therapeutic to you. And you're like, "Yo, I'm about to do this. I'm about to hit people up." And I can agree because I do the same thing, every Sunday, as you mentioned earlier, you came on STEM Media Live, which is my show every Sunday. And I just love connecting with people, that are scientists that also lift weights, who lift, right? You know what I mean? Like who are, biologists, but they also are into media, right? I love talking to the engineers who also like to dance, dance, right? They're the people who I call every at the beginning of every show the most creative and inspirational people in the STEM community. And so
yeah,
often I come away from those conversations feeling empowered and lifted up, even though
yeah.
I hosted it, right? I'm like, yo, this is it right here,
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
Like when you
this is good
came
for
on, man, I
me.
was like, yo, this is definitely it right here, man. So I agree with you 100%.
That's dope. Where did that idea come from? Like the doing the lives. How long have you been doing that? Because it seems like you've been doing it for like a while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I've been doing that for. That's a good question. Let's see, 2021 now.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for. So I started in 2018,
Oh
18,
wow.
19, 20, 21. So about 3 to 4 years, and yeah, that idea was a couple of ideas, man. If I can be honest with you, I think one was just to want to create content. So STEM Media, we're a digital media company,
Right.
and though initially we did it, sort of offline, as I told you how the story started,
Yeah.
probably for the last 5, 6 years, the goal has been to build an online presence and a platform through
Mm-hmm.
digital content, right?
Yeah.
And so this was sort of an easy thing. I remember Instagram Live came out. At the time, you couldn't save it though. It didn't. There was no IGTV. But I just knew that
Oh
I
yeah.
wanted to get stuff out there in the
Yeah.
STEM community. What better way than to, invite other people who are doing other things and sort of serve as this like curated place
Yeah.
for a lot of the creative and inspirational stuff in the STEM community. So that was sort of motivation number one. And then the other one was just to be very honest with you, you just talked about therapy. I thought it would be cool to just like meet people and network with people. Because there are a
Just
lot of
talk to, yeah.
people that like I haven't my first full conversation with them is on the podcast. It's on STEM Media Live. And so just really wanting to expand my network, continue to like connect with people, and again create more of those like symbiotic relationships to where I can pour into you, you can pour into me, we both can rise together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's nice to connect with someone who understands.
Yeah,
People that get it, because there's a
get it
lot of people
exactly.
who don't get it.
Right, you said that
They,
again.
they don't get. There's some
Yeah,
people. Some people don't understand, like, especially as a scientist, like my schedule's kind of all over the place, and I make my own hours, but
yeah.
making your own hours is a blessing and a curse, because
Hmm.
you got to get stuff done. You got to make sure that
You
you
do.
get stuff done, or your boss is going to be on you. Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
you're not spending enough time in the lab. Obviously, you're not spending enough time in the lab because
Right.
you don't have
Are
any
you serious
results.
about this, or
Right, right. All that. So
that's the question.
and it's always funny because someone's always trying to like take it with. It's like, oh man, you got time for that? You can do this. You can do that. I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
that's
don't
true.
you don't exactly know what I have time for.
Right,
Like my schedule. Like I'm very meticulous in my scheduling.
bro.
And like I have to, like, I was like, yo, if don't knock me off of my routine. I have a
Right,
routine.
right. You have things planned, and when it comes to other stuff, you're like, okay, here's the window
Right,
that I could perhaps do something like that.
right.
But and you're right, man. Like that's one of the things I've been dealing with the most as I've like really taken STEM media seriously. And I'm like, I really want to grow this.
Yeah.
I've been doing YouTube a lot lately, STEM Media YouTube channel. By the way, you inspired me with that as well too. I found a lot of your videos back in the day. Um, but yeah, that, and then like I do public speaking, so I take virtual speaking gigs.
Yeah,
There's our events that we're planning, and then just the future stuff, right?
yeah.
Very seldom do I have room for a brand new idea from someone that's not in line with like the goals I already have. You
Right.
feel me? And I'm
Yeah,
not necessarily trying to say that that means that there's no value there, but just like I kind of at this point already have in mind what I want to do.
right.
And I'm open to hearing ideas because you never know, things are cool, or there are surprising opportunities that can come your way.
True.
However, a person really is out of place if they're like, man, what do you do? Oh, you ain't doing nothing. You can come in. Da, da, da.
Oh
Come on.
man, I was like, what? Dude,
Are you
you don't,
kidding me?
you can take a day
I
off.
got
Like,
things
come on.
waiting on me right now to be taken care of. You know what I mean? That's how
Right,
you
right,
feel when they say something like that.
right. Exactly. I was like, man, I could be in the lab doing work right now, but
Right
I
now.
care I care about my work-life balance,
Yes.
that and my mental health, to where I'm not gonna, like,
Yeah.
I'm not a PhD student anymore. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not spending 12, 13, 14 hours in the lab to
For
get work
sure.
done. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to prove nothing. I've done this.
You did it. You got that degree. And congratulations, by the way, because when we chatted on my show,
Yeah,
you had not yet defended. I think it was getting scheduled.
yeah,
You
yeah,
knocked it out. I
yeah,
came through actually because it was virtual,
yeah, yeah,
peered in a little bit.
yeah.
Man, congratulations to that. I just want to make sure I say that, on the show.
Appreciate
Congrats.
it. It was interesting because, like, things got mucked up because of COVID, and
Mm.
like, mucked up, pushed it back.
Yeah.
And I think going through the process during COVID really made me believe that, you know what, I need to be a mentor. Like,
Okay.
I really need to, like, even though, so, oh man, so going through it. So my PhD advisor really wasn't there. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
basically
Mm-hmm.
didn't read my thesis.
Get out of
He
here.
Oh man,
Didn't
it's
even read it.
crazy.
He of all people, you know what I mean? Come on. Don't you want your advisor to read it?
Right. And he just made it seem like he didn't have enough time for me. Like, he didn't have the time. And I'm his only PhD student at this time.
So it's not like there were others. Yeah.
So it's like, it isn't like you got, and it was like, bro, we in a pandemic. There's nothing to do.
Right.
There's
Right.
nothing to do. So,
Like
like,
you're not in the lab. You're not commuting.
right,
You know what I mean?
right,
You're not having people walk in on you
right.
to where you get tied up. Yeah, I know what you mean, man.
And it was a wild situation because I was like, wow. And I had a black advisor. Like, he was
Advisor,
from
yeah, because you
he
had
was from
transferred.
DC. Yeah,
Yep, I
I
remember
transferred from
you
Georgia
transferred.
State. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was
Wow.
it was wild. I was like, you know what, man, and it can't just whether or not whether they're black, no, they're white. If they're for you, they're
Yeah,
for you. If they're not, they're not.
they're
So
not. They're not. Yeah.
that's just how it is.
And
That's,
you know that the thing about PhD programs, like somebody asked me, what would you advise? You know, what's some insight you can give me into, you know, getting a PhD, going to grad school? First of all, I would say, if you don't know why you're getting a PhD, like, come on, man, don't just do it just to do it. You know what I mean?
some
Like,
people
and it's
do
funny,
though.
huh?
Some people really do.
Some people really do, right? Like, and I don't necessarily recommend that, right?
Yeah.
You know, big respect to them, people who got that, you know, who can just be like, you know, I'm about to go ahead and put myself through years of research and work and
Stress,
you know,
hardship, all that.
what is it? It's almost like going down a tunnel without even knowing where the end is. You know, you don't see the light for a while. But I definitely don't encourage people to do that. Like, I don't encourage people just to do it just because it can get really rough if you don't really have a purpose. But the other thing I say is this, just back to that point, like, find a good advisor. Like,
Oh,
really, a good advisor means more than even a prestigious school, in my opinion.
mm-hmm.
Like, you can go to the most prestigious school, but if you have the worst advisor, you're not gonna want to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
find a good person to be your advisor, to be your research, you know, mentor, if they could be a mentor, because not all advisors, research advisors, are mentors. But if you can find both in one, then you know you got something good.
Oh, for sure. Oh, trust me, man, man. Like you preaching to the choir. You're
I know you agree.
the choir. And you know what? When I as I was doing, and I did all my postdoc interviews and traveling right before this lockdown happened, which is
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. I did so much traveling during that time. Like
Wow.
in the first 3 months of 2020, I did so much traveling that
Yeah.
yeah. So, uh but like I've done like I knew what I was looking for. I was like, yo, I can go into any like you get to a point where you know you can go into any lab and you can do the research. You
Yeah.
can do the
Yeah.
work. I can do the work.
Right.
Like I this is what I do. I does this.
Right. This
Like
is transferable. Yeah,
right,
for
like,
sure.
this is what I do. Like no
Yeah.
matter what lab I'm going to be successful because I know my
Right.
skill set. Like
Right.
I know what I'm
Right.
doing. But
Mm-hmm.
what I was looking for was someone who could mentor me for the next step.
For the next step. Yeah.
That was
Mm.
big because and like I interviewed two places because there was a few different places that I you know reached out to, but they really didn't. They the first phone interaction really didn't hit me.
Mm-hmm.
You really want me here? And I was like, I don't feel wanted. I feel like I'm just like another cog in your machine, and I'm
Yeah.
not about that. I'm not about
Yeah.
like I reached out to Stanford. I reached out to places like UNC, all these places, man. I
Yep.
was and so the two places that I tried that I actually agreed to go on an interview to was Vanderbilt and the University of
Mm-hmm.
Texas, Austin, right?
There you go. Okay.
So I went to the University of Texas, Austin, and they blew me away. My boss, my current boss, blew me away because
That
what
school
he
is yeah.
yeah, what he did was he asked about the science. He was like, yeah, the science is cool or whatnot. So,
Right.
but tell me about you. How'd you get
There you
here?
go.
I was like,
Huh.
oh, okay, all right, all right,
You're
all right.
interested. Oh, you're interested. Okay. You're interested in me.
Me as a
Yeah.
person, me
As
as
a
a person,
person.
as a human being. Like I'm not just some researcher to you. Like I'm a human
Right.
being in your eyes.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, and like, and then it's funny because I went to the second interview, or the Vanderbilt interview,
Right.
and like they were extremely interested in my work. They asked amazing questions, but I could tell that she wasn't going to treat me as a human being. She wasn't
Right.
going to care as much
Hmm.
about my success. And
Yeah.
what my current boss told me, he was like, "Yo, I'm here for you. Like your success is my success.
Is my success.
We have to, you know, we have to work together. This has to be a collaboration.
Right. Right.
I'm not your boss. I'm just here to give you suggestions."
That's incredible. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had like because of COVID and we can't like be face to face. We do like virtual meets and whatnot, meetings and whatnot. I
Right.
mean, I'm fully vaccinated. He just got his first. He'll get
Okay.
his second soon. So we'll be fully vaccinated and we can meet more often in person. But
Yeah.
you know, we've had our ups and downs just trying to get to know each other. And
Yeah.
like what I really do when it comes to like and I suggest anybody who's looking for a PhD or a postdoc, you got to test the
Hmm.
people that you're trying to work for.
For sure, man.
You got
And
to
I can
test
tell
them.
you for sure, and like not just on the research, but like on
Yeah.
the personal side. Like we could, we don't want to think about it, but we could very well go through a hard personal time while on that job, right? Like we could, lose a loved one. A person could get sick, you
Yep.
know, or you could even run into a situation where another person, maybe it's not your boss, maybe it's not the people that are there, but another entity or people could come through
Hmm.
that could perhaps disrupt the chemistry a little bit, right? If you don't got that trust, already there, then in those moments, you're not gonna feel that secure. You're not
Right.
gonna feel that secure. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And the way I tested the people at UT,
Mm-hmm.
one, I always look at, you always have to look at the lab's interaction. If they allow you to, if they don't allow you to see how the lab actually interacts, first red flag. Very first red flag. If you don't get to see how they get to interact with
They
each other,
shielding
nah.
stuff. They trying to say, oh, no, don't. Nah, you can figure
Oh,
it
you
out
you
later.
you, you don't need to see that. Just come look this way. Like
Yeah, yeah,
ah,
yeah, yeah. Don't mind that. Don't mind that.
that's not a problem. That's not a problem. But nah. But and so like we went out to dinner and like he was just asking me about like my interests and stuff, and me, I like to go hiking and stuff, and I
Right,
love I
right.
love history. Like history is like this thing for me. I love learning about history, and
Talking about the gym, working
yeah,
out.
yeah, 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 all that. So he wanted to know. He was like, "Oh, what's your favorite time in history?" And I was like, "Huh."
Hmm.
I was like, let's see how you react to this. I was like, well, my favorite time in history is the Reconstruction era,
Reconstruction, yeah.
and I was just like, it's the time right after slavery officially ended and Jim Crow like was enforced. And
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
he was like, huh. Like, and granted, I know the Reconstruction era isn't taught in schools, which is
Yeah.
quite unfortunate. But he was like, I don't know anything about this, because I told him, I was like, yo, it's the one time in U.S. history that Black people were able to build their own, be prosperous, that those sort of
Right,
things.
right, right. There was actually an initiative, a program,
Mhm.
look at, reconstructed to reconstruct us as a people. It was short lived,
Yeah,
but the fact that it actually was one is something that, at least for a period of time, was good to know, at least for people that were living during that time. Yeah,
right, exactly. So
yeah.
I told him that, and he was just like, huh. He was like, so how did you learn about this? Where did you learn it? Because he was like, I don't know anything about this. How did
Really?
you learn
Okay,
that?
so you were able
Yeah.
to educate a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you learn about this? Where did you learn? I was just like, just I mean, reading books, reading like different texts, historical texts, and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
things that are specific to this time. And sometimes they had things on TV too, like
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
History
yeah.
Channel. So like there was things out there. It's just I found out about it, and as I learned and dove deeper into it, I was like, oh man,
Yeah,
this is amazing. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, not amazing how it ended, but just an amazing era in
Yeah,
general.
that existed.
Yeah,
That was a period in history that many
right.
people have forgotten or you don't never even heard of. Yeah.
And he was like, "Is there any books that you can recommend?" Like he asked for recommendations for readings to understand or to learn about the Reconstruction era. I was just like,
Wow. Okay.
"Oh, all right, you trying to educate yourself, sir?" I was like, "All
Yeah,
right."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was big. It was something big. It was when looking for someone, and especially being Black in these spaces, and
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
know that you're going to have to deal with white people just in general. That's
Right,
just how that's
right,
just how it
right.
is.
No way around that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Zero way around it. Um,
Not in America. Yeah.
yeah, someone who's willing to do the research to understand your culture. Like you don't have to teach them. They just like, is there something I can read to help me
Right,
understand?
right, right, right.
I was like, man, that's that. At that point, he was like, man, you sold me. You sold me. I mean, I had to go to the
Yeah.
other interview and see what it was like, but I was like, y'all gonna have
I
to
don't
do.
know if I'm gonna find. I don't know if I'm gonna have a chance to talk about Reconstruction next time. I mean, my next interview. Yeah,
Right, right.
that's pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty
yeah.
dope. It was pretty dope, and then it was dope that the fact that my some people say, oh, there's allies, and I was like, yo, I have some some real allies in my lab, like some people
Mm-hmm.
who like two white women who they
Get
understand,
it?
they know, yeah, they get it, man. They
Yeah.
get it. I was just like, man, this is wow, I lucked out. Like
Mm-hmm.
considering where I came from, man, I lucked out.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
did. Like let me tell you, everything happens for a reason. And the only reason why I even looked at UT Austin was because a friend of mine moved down to Austin, and he was just like, "Yo, man, look at UT, so you can come down here and hang out with us." And I was like, I don't know. And then like one day
Right.
I was bored and I looked up UT and I found this lab. I was like, huh, this looks kind of cool. And I reached out, and rest is history, man.
Well, that's what I was gonna say about the school. Like, I think UT Austin is a very, they have a lot of resources for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're really big in academics. They also pretty big sports program, football, of course, not being the least of which. They got like a number of things going on there. And here's a fun fact. I don't know if you know this, but STEMedia has actually done some work with UT Austin,
Yeah.
and hope to do some more in the future actually for some campaigns that they had. It was in, maybe it was, I want to say it was 2017.
Mhm.
They have an organization on campus you may have heard of called the Dana Center for Mathematics, and
Sounds familiar.
it was a math, they called it the Math Paths
Okay.
campaign, and the goal was to highlight various people in different careers,
Mhm.
math careers. And they reached out and I connected with them, and so STEM Media was hired to help organize and create content for this campaign, disseminate the campaign. And then myself being an engineer, I was like the first feature of the campaign. So I did a video. They actually brought, we had a crew come here. We linked up, and then I was able to go there as well, and then also work with them on filming some other features in the
Oh,
area.
that's
So
dope.
hey, who knows? There may be another opportunity for me to do that. Perhaps in your lab, you never know. You know what I mean? Since we got this company, content creation company.
I'm always down. Like that.
Yeah,
That would be dope, man. That would be dope to just like to connect with other people. Like yeah, and it's crazy doing this and gaining friends all over the country. And then
yeah,
like granted, I've lived all over the country,
yeah. You
but
moved around. Yeah,
I moved around quite a bit. But like the be able to connect and out it just with people all over the not only all over the country but all over the world has been really
right,
dope. Has been really
right.
dope. But yeah, man, like that outreach is dope. And if you did something else with UT, that would be. I was like, yo, man, let me
Yeah,
get
man.
in on
Hey,
that.
if I get to come back down there, because Austin, the city of Austin is another one of those. I don't really know what this word means, but I'm just gonna call it that, an all-American town. And I say that because I say all American because it's one of those cities that is growing so rapidly, and
Hmm.
so many people are moving there from various parts of the country
Yeah,
that it almost begins to have sort of its own culture relative to a lot of other areas of the state.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like I live in a city like that too. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Raleigh is one of those areas that's growing like that. And while there are different accents, all throughout the South and the North Carolina, you
Yeah,
can kind of get into Raleigh and be like,
this is
you
different.
kind of can forget that you're in the South sometimes because you got people who are from all over the place. I feel like Austin's like that when it comes to Texas, right? Like in general, because there's Texas, but then Austin has that. Again, I'm gonna use it, that all American type of melting
It's
pot
different.
feel.
It's different. It's definitely different.
Yeah,
It's different than the rest of Texas because
yeah,
it's this melting pot because of all the tech companies moving here.
yes,
Uh,
exactly. That's another
yeah,
catalyst. Yep.
yeah, yeah. It's just this melting pot of people. Now I lived in another like Atlanta's like that.
Atlanta, yeah, oh,
Yeah,
Atlanta for sure. It's
Atlanta
actually,
is definitely like
yeah,
it's just a melting pot of people. You don't know who, where people are from, who you're gonna meet.
right,
It's
right.
madness. And then the people who are native, what they call
AT
ATLians.
aliens.
Yeah, yeah, native ATLians, man. They the funniest people, the
Yeah.
funniest
Oh yeah,
people.
yeah. No, no
Um,
doubt, no doubt. So I'm originally from Georgia. Actually, I got a lot of family in Atlanta, and
yeah,
Atlanta definitely is, like you said, it's a melting pot. Definitely today with the film industry. Well, of course,
yeah,
some news is gone, but they grew their film industry, which brought in a lot of people. The Olympics. I really feel like the Olympics in '96 is really what kicked Atlanta off, like
mm,
to just a big city of the South to like, oh, you don't even have to be from America. You heard of Atlanta? The music, of course,
yeah.
where it's like the hip hop capital currently right now. Yeah, so no, I agree with you on that as well.
yeah. Atlanta was a great place. I'll be like, and I'll tell people all the time. It's like, yo, man, there's something for everybody in Atlanta.
Oh
Trust me,
man,
something for
everybody.
everybody. Everybody. Like there's some man.
Yeah,
Listen, some nights in Atlanta, like you just be like you'll be driving home. I mean, I won't know why, but at that time I was listening to the radio quite a bit
yeah.
because I don't know. Atlanta radio is actually like good. Like Atlanta's
Okay.
radio actually like it's entertaining. Like
Mm-hmm.
so I was driving home from where was I? Buckhead Bars.
Okay.
I was in the Buckhead area. I was at Buckhead Bars driving home, and all you hear on the radio is like, "Yo, your night isn't over yet." It's like, come to the after party at the strip club. I was like, "Yo, man, it's 3
After.
o'clock." It's
Come get some of the. Everybody talk about the
the
wings. Come get some
wings,
of the wings.
wings, right, man. Wings are good. Wings are
Ah,
good. Wings are good. But it's just like, yo, man, like I don't under. I was like, yo, man, y'all party. I'm about to go to
yeah.
sleep. I don't know what y'all
I
doing.
know, right?
I don't know
Yo,
what y'all out here.
Jermaine Dupri and Ludacris knew what they were talking about. The party don't stop till 8 in the morning.
They weren't lying. I don't know if strip clubs closed down there. I'm not sure. I'm not
Oh
sure.
man, that's unbelievable, bro. That's definitely the time some people got to be at work, and they
But yeah,
talking about people not in the party until this work to the shift starts.
right. It's like, man, y'all, wow, wow. But
Yeah,
Atlanta was in my short time down there. I experienced a lot of Atlanta, and
yeah,
I I wouldn't trade it in for anything because
yeah,
it was fun. It was
yeah. It
fun.
made you
Yeah,
it's part of your development, man. It's
yeah,
gonna
for
stay with you
sure,
forever.
for sure. I
Part of
mean,
your mature maturation.
yeah. I mean, I went down there broke, and let me tell you, I lived in East Point. I don't know if you know East Point.
I know by East Point. Yep.
Yeah, yep.
Hmm.
So I lived on the edge of East Point and College Park.
Yeah. Oh, College Park.
Yeah, I lived on the edge, and man, let me tell you, oh, crappy apartment, broke,
Oh man.
working like 3 jobs, but hey, you gotta do what
And
you
you were
gotta
in
do.
school. And you were in
Yeah,
school at the time.
yeah, full time,
That's crazy.
full time. But
Man. Man.
you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Like
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
nights
Again,
and
part of your
weekends.
development, part of your maturation.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure,
Yep.
for sure. But oh, bro. So I asked uh Maynard this, and I want to ask you too. So we
Okay.
talked about like outreach and things of that nature. So I had this I was watching this show. I forget what the show was called. Soul of a Nation. And
Mm.
I think they were talking about STEM stuff, and I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah, when it comes to STEM outreach, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have the Bill Nyes out there, you have the hip
Yes.
hop MD. All y'all are engineers. All y'all engineer like
Hmm.
a lot of the more popular like STEM um outreach people
People
are
are engineers.
engineers.
You
They're
know,
engineers.
that's a good point. I've heard people say that. I mean, you do still have your scientists. You have your Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Right,
astrophysicist.
right.
You
He's
know,
not
you
in the
have your
spotlight like that.
Mayim Blalik, who's I think neuro. She's in the neurology space, right? But no, I got you. Like engineers, like one of the things though is that I know for me as an engineer,
Right.
you naturally start thinking as a problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Right. So you start hearing, all right, we need more people in STEM.
Right.
Well, like, what are the problems? What are the issues? Maybe it's presented in a weird way. Maybe people just haven't heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
What are things that actually can be created? And this is obviously no not to science. I mean, I'm talking to a scientist right now, but I do know that like our minds sometimes go instantly to the how,
Mm-hmm.
where like sometimes in science is more so the why. Like let's figure out why did this happen? What triggers this? What
Yeah,
triggers that?
yeah,
Which is important. But then I know as an engineer, I'm just like, all right, how? How are we gonna do this?
yeah.
Like
Let's get to work.
exactly. It's the get your hands dirty. Let's start building. Let's start creating. And I don't know if that's the answer, but I know that like that has been a large part of my activation. You know what I
No.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
all right, this is the problem. Oh, y'all haven't heard of this. We need more people in STEM. Or we need more, black people to know about it, to consider these. We need it. All right, let me show black people doing it. You
Right,
know, let's
right,
start.
right,
Let's
right,
make it possible. I'm a black person here. See me engineer. You
right,
know, like
right,
so.
right, right, right.
I don't know. That's that. I don't. Again, I don't know if that answers the entire question, but that's definitely part of my mindset about it.
Yeah. I mean, we was talking last week about it, and I was wondering. I was like, you know what, man? Is it because engineers are more, I don't know, personable?
Hmm.
Do they have more personality than we do? You know, like
Not
y'all
across the
just
board. I wouldn't say across the board at all, man. Because
uh
I've been told not just I've been told, but like there are
yeah,
people that I've like attempted to try to like pull over and get more involved in me in engineering, and like, not me. You know, like they didn't have the same like extroverted tendencies or like they didn't really want to put themselves out there. So, I don't know if that's a pattern, but I know for a fact that that same hesitation and shyness and apprehension definitely exists among engineers as well. So I would add that.
okay, okay. Because I mean, I wasn't sure. I mean, like, and um like, cause I was looking at just outreach in general and how could we, because I know a lot of the outreach is geared towards engineering, tech,
Yeah, yeah,
because you can get your hands on those things,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's hard to get your hands on the stuff that I do, you
True,
know,
true. Yeah,
and the question is, how do we get um kids or young adults and like interested and involved in stuff that I do. Like, how
right.
do we just blow stuff up for them like that? Like, that's kind of how I started. Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Blow
do we
stuff
just
up. Let them see the fire.
right?
Let them see the
Oh,
blood
what
and
is
guts.
right? What is that? I want to be a part of whatever's going on over there.
That looks
Like,
exciting. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
You you
yeah,
know when it comes to science though, I think some of the most engaging things that I've seen with science, because science, like before I go there, science actually led me to engineering. Like I was in love with science before I became in love with engineering. Like when I was younger, I used to say, "Man, I love science." I liked Bill Nye the Science Guy. At the time, I didn't know he was an engineer,
yeah,
but he definitely was presenting more science, and even though he had an engineering background, but then also like I want to be an inventor,
mm,
but I love the fact that there are sometimes scientific facts that can just blow your mind. Like you just say it and it's like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like when you talk about the universe or you're talking about, the number of cells in the body, like anything. Like I think science has the ability to literally simply just state something and
yeah.
have people be like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so I've seen presentations where people attempt to show analogies of that.
Mm,
Like,
mm,
oh, you have this many skin cells that die every day. Hey, if a skin cell was the size of a golf ball, this would be enough golf balls to fill up this entire. You know what I mean? Like those type of presentations have always fascinated me. You know what I mean? Not so much blowing up, but just like the ability or the lack of the ability to instantly wrap my mind around things
yeah.
has always been intriguing for me, and that's something that kind of stayed with me ever since I was a kid, for sure, for
Nice,
sure.
nice. Like your mind blown, pretty much.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That
Yeah,
science will just blow your mind. Now, engineering will probably literally could literally blow you up in your mind,
yeah,
but science definitely has the ability to like completely just destroy your whole paradigm.
right, right. I mean, like, I think we said it last week that tech and engineering was like the gateway drug to the more serious stuff. Like,
Ah,
and it
gateway
was
drug.
it's the gateway drug. It's the gateway drug to like chemistry and biology. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
say,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
oh, you
yeah.
like this? Let me show you some
I,
things.
I mean, because we're built on it. We're built on what you all the scientists do in the lab. Where engineering couldn't exist without science. Couldn't be built without science. That's a fact. Tech. I think tech is applied engineering as well. Which all goes right back down to science. And
Mm,
then we got to show math some loves too. Math gives us the numbers and the tools and operations to actually express some of the stuff that we discover. You know what I mean? It makes it a little bit more useful. So it's a language um, that we ultimately are able to take the science, the more serious stuff, the hard stem drugs, to use Maynard's analogy, and bring it to something more palatable or even more applicable for
yeah.
your everyday person. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's like how you got started. I think everybody gets started in STEM differently, but as
Right.
long as they are exposed to it.
Yeah.
Exposure, that's big. Like,
Exposure is huge, man.
the more exposure you have, the more likely you're going to be like, yo, I can do this.
Totally.
I
And
can
you
do
know
this.
what? And I'll go a step further because exposure, or staying on exposure, but like exposure to the craft and to
Mm.
the subject matter, but also exposure to people who make it look good. And then also
Yeah.
exposure to people who make it look good and are actually enjoying life, like living a life that is fun. You know what I mean? Exposure to people who are even financially successful in it, like all that stuff is important. And sometimes people be like, well, I dig the empowerment thing, but you didn't bring any of the theorems into it, or you didn't, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe you should sometimes, and maybe you shouldn't. But at the end of the day, I actually believe that if a person is exposed to something and it gives them the spark, it piques their interest, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times that's enough to get them to go deeper into something, like to really dig in. Like I was talking to this young man, and you have to meet him one time. His name is Kenyon. He's blowing up on TikTok,
Okay.
right? He does a lot of like guess my height videos. So people like send him videos and say, hey, can
Okay.
you guess my height? You may have seen it. And then like he
Yeah,
uses
yeah,
like
yeah. I've
objects in
seen
the
it.
picture.
Yeah.
Oh man, impressive young man. I love what he's doing. He has about 4 million followers doing STEM math content, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
told this young man, he's like a freshman or a sophomore in college.
Wow.
Do you know this guy has read dynamics books? He's done all types of like study just so he can make a video. Like when he told me the amount of study he does just so he can make a cool TikTok video or get somebody's house right, I was like, wow, bro, like you're doing PhD level research just to make content. And it's not because a professor told him to do it or he had
Mm-hmm.
to get a grade, but
Right.
because he found a spark. Like he
Yeah.
saw something that was pretty dope. And he was like, I'm
Yeah.
about to go all in on this. And so that's an example, right? How many times, again, I posted a meme like this one. How many times have we found ourselves researching something just so we can like make an accurate comment to somebody that disagrees with us under, you know what I mean?
All the time.
Like
All
someone
the time.
says something and they're like, no, 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 no. Then next thing you know, you're like Googling, you like low key writing a paper, doing a whole lit review. Study this, you know what I'm saying? As said before, you doing a whole doggone publications worth of research just to get just to prove somebody wrong in the comments. And so, yeah, I definitely think that sometimes our job isn't even just the education of the actual topic, but just to provide a spark that can
True.
then in and of itself fuel someone to go deeper and deeper into it.
Right. Oh, I feel
Yeah.
that. I mean, I'll be doing the same things, man. I'll be all the time, all the time, because even that, like I had to get like, even though COVID was the papers were out there, and like I technically work in a virus lab, even though I do a lot of cancer work, and
Yeah.
I use models that uh, applicable to viruses and apply them to cancers, and
Right.
seeing how they line up, how parallel they are,
Yeah.
and trying to understand their their immunity to certain different stress levels, right? Stress
Got you.
conditions.
Huh.
So, but like what's wild is I had to learn more about COVID. I mean, even though like I was as a scientist, you just kind of knew about it because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
talk about it in my lab all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
like I had to go deep into the
Right.
science,
Right.
and I had to go deep into science because of my family.
Hmm.
Like
They were questioning you.
oh man, let me tell you,
You're getting them.
I had a bro, I have a brother who's a physician up in New York,
Okay.
and he just because he's a physician doesn't mean he reads the literature. Like
Right. Right.
a lot of
Right.
physicians don't, and I'm coming to find that out. A lot of physicians don't, because my
Put
brother
them
does.
on put them on blast real quick.
Put them real quick. See, there goes the petty again. I told people, they was like, "Yo, man, you." I was like, I get a little petty. I try
Just a
not
little bit.
to, but
I got you.
then it happens, and then it's just
Right.
like, well, we got to just go in.
Go ahead and go with it. Go ahead and make your point. You gotta make your point. Yeah.
It's already, but no, like and the medical doctors are out here like saying, oh well, like some of them, and it's making things worse for
Yeah.
just the states in general for the COVID numbers. It's like, oh, COVID isn't that bad, or oh, don't get
Hmm.
the vaccine. Oh, I'm not getting the vaccine.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing these things as medical doctors, what makes you think the population as a whole is going to do it?
Right.
And then so
Right.
they
The
listen to the
patient.
medical doctors before they listen to the
Right.
scientists, and the
Yeah.
scientists are the ones who are like, "Yo, man, what are you talking about?
What are
Like
you doing?
we made
Yeah.
this. We know it's safe. We done the research. We published multiple papers on these things.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?" So yeah, I had to
Man.
dive deep, deep into it just to make a point.
Right. Right. Which is why, again, going back to the outreach and science communication is so important. You could be
Yeah,
doing like the most revealing, impactful research in a laboratory, but if it isn't disseminated in some way or communicated to the public in a way that the relevance is easily seen, it can die a death, of irrelevance. And
yeah,
that's sad because I'm sure there's a lot of I know for a fact there are things that people, in your position, scientists have discovered 20 years ago that right now we still ain't doing anything with. You know what I mean?
right,
It's just
right,
there. Like
right.
I'm talking about something. I'm willing to bet that there's something right now that can literally change our lives that
Mm,
was discovered in the 90s,
yep,
right? But
yep.
because it hasn't been properly brought out to the public or seen the light of day, and I'm not even getting into the like. Obviously, there's some conspiracy theories. There's some, there's
Always.
some big money that probably wants to keep some stuff, saying suppressed. I'm like, never mind that, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that
yeah.
exists as well, but never mind that. I'm talking about just the fact that no one has championed it in a way to where the public could digest it. And so
Right.
the entire pipeline or the entire, I'll say pipeline of a scientific discovery, scientific information, revelations, conclusions,
Mm,
then brought to someone who is more of a practitioner, like a physician or an engineer, right? Utilizing it, and then there's the teacher in the classroom, right? They're part of it as well, whether or not they are trained or not, because we know that the majority of STEM teachers are not trained in STEM, and that's no knock to them, but it's just again, it's just how it's been set up. And then of course, then there's the media, right? And that's a whole nother thing there. There's the media. So yeah, man, I think there's an issue when not only when it doesn't have the capacity to travel through that line of communication to be effective, but when people are in that point and they intentionally don't pass the baton, they
right,
intentionally drop the baton and say,
right,
man, whatever, don't worry about that. It's
right.
like, yo, do you know what kind of disservice you're doing to people?
On
Yeah,
the same on the same tip, like people the same the people's like, oh, the vaccine came out so fast. No, the
yeah.
vaccine developed like
They've been
about a
working on
decade
it
ago.
they've
Yeah,
been working on it for a long time. Yeah,
yeah, about a decade ago when SARS came out, because SARS is a COVID type virus.
yeah,
And when SARS came out, they started working on a vaccine. Then
yeah,
they just
yeah.
didn't have the funding that
Right,
they did
right.
now. And then so once the funding picked back up,
Yeah.
the
The
vaccine
work picked
rollout,
back up. The
yeah,
development picked back up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's what I say. I just tell people, I'm like, yo, they had several years of a head start. So don't think that, oh, it just came in March. They just said, let's start reading the book on this. No, no,
let's
they've
just
been developing this for a while. So,
yeah,
yes, they accelerate, like you said, the funding increased because it
right,
became a national emergency. Um, Clinical trials were not rushed, but they were allowed to activate and kind of go through the process in a faster manner, in a I wouldn't say faster, but in a accelerated manner. But at the end of the day, the science and the research and what provided, the actual mechanisms for fighting this disease
mhm,
are things that have been cultivated prior to this pandemic even coming on the scene. So
there you go. And plus with the clinical trials, um, they had a plethora of of subjects. Like
right,
usually when you get down to something like this, like when you get down to actually making a vaccine, which is usually
ah,
years later, you don't have the test
that's
subjects.
true.
You
That
you have
that's a good. That's a good point.
you can
So they
walk on the
had
street
tons of
and say,
people they could, like the whole world basically was like a pool of people they can pick from. Yeah,
right.
as opposed to like let's try to find a few people on the globe that actually has this disease right now. Oh
Right.
no, I mean we got plenty of people every day. How about thousands a day? New
Right.
people we can choose from. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
good point as well.
Yeah. But and that's the thing though. We don't. We're not making science too. We're not making it digestible
There we go,
for the
digestible.
for the
Uh-huh.
normal person. You know, like
Yeah,
we as scientists, we understand it. Sure, like we understand.
yeah,
Oh, so okay, I can read this and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I
yeah,
get that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
get that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, okay, I see what they're doing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But somebody else, like say my mother or my father, looks at it and be
yeah,
like, what is what is this?
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember one time they tried to look up one of my first author papers, and they was just like, I didn't understand it, but it sounded great. I didn't understand it, but it sounded like it was important. I was like, thanks, mama. I was like,
I
at
would.
least y'all care, like I care.
There you go. Yeah, and that's a whole nother topic right there. Being kind of like a first person to go down a certain path in your family. But yeah, you just read. I'm sure your dissertation topic alone probably could like you could lose a few people just by saying the title. What was the title of your dissertation?
The spatial temporal organization of MMP9 and, and 7 breast cancer cells. Yeah. So
Exactly. Like you almost lost me, and I have a PhD myself, right? But it's crazy though. Like, and we get it though because I understand it because obviously you're adding new knowledge. There are qualifiers you put in there because you're trying to make it very specific and clear. Where you've pushed our sphere of understanding. But that's just a good example I like to point to where it's like you just go and look at a library of dissertations and it's gonna be a while before you even read one that actually kind of makes sense, especially if it's in STEM, especially if it's
oh
a science,
yeah.
um, science that y'all are up here, right? Engineering is gonna be hard for you, even with there to kind of find a few things. Math is going, you know what I mean? So these STEM topics, and that's just again not a fault, but it's like that's what we're up against, right? That's
Exactly.
what we're up against, and that's what we
Exactly.
have to figure out how to translate.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we
Yeah.
just feel like we just be making up words sometimes, man. I was like, I don't know. I know what that word means. I know how to say it, but I was like, I feel like this is all made up.
The
Like,
acronym, right? The acronyms be killing me, right? You know
oh,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
You just
yeah,
go ahead and
yeah.
abbreviate the PPT. I had PPT in mind. People are like, what PPT? And I did a presentation recently, and I forgot to like, how you introduce the full name before you put the.
Well, yeah,
I had a slide
abbreviation.
come up, and I was like, oh man, I didn't even like define this acronym for them. I'm gonna be just using it. I'm sure they're like, what in the world is PPT? Like, what is that Michael Jackson song? Like,
Right,
what
right.
are
I
you
was like,
talking about?
I know that. Oh, okay, I fucks with Michael Jackson. Yeah, I love Mike.
Y'all using Michael Jackson music in your
I
engineering? Oh
was like,
man,
oh,
that's incredible.
it's like, man, I want to be a part of this. This is great. MJ engineering, they go hand in hand. They right
You
here.
know what
They
I mean?
intertwine.
Yeah,
They are
nah,
intertwined.
I feel you, man.
Oh, bro. Hey, listen.
That's
So,
incredible.
one last thing before I let you go. I know you're a busy.
Sure, man.
You got a lot going on. You got a lot going on. So, with the lives, I want to ask, who has been your favorite live session with? Do you have a
Man,
favorite? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yo,
I'm getting down to it.
so easy question.
Oh,
Dominique from Scientists Who Live, like that's just right off the bat.
all right.
Um, but yo, bro, like what's so funny? I always knew I would get that question at some point, but you're literally the first person to ask me.
Really?
Yeah, like I already knew that like one of these days somebody's gonna ask me. I've interviewed, well into the hundreds of people at this point, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, somebody's gonna ask me who my favorite guest was, and I don't know how I'm gonna answer that question. And today, right now, before you're literally the first person to ask me that question. And so
Wow.
this is my first time answering it, outside of my own head. And I really don't have an answer. I'm sorry. Sorry to disappoint you. I don't have an answer. Um,
Dang.
I'll tell you what I'm starting to like more recently though. Like I'll tell you the type of guests that I actually am starting to like more recently.
Yeah.
It's the people who can teach us how. Again, going back to the engineering mind,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to be a how of like something technical. It could be a how I got to this position in my company, or
Mm.
like how I developed this, or how I made this much money starting my own company. Like those type of guests, I think have become sort of my more recent favorites. But I really don't have one person I can point to overall. You know what I mean? Since 2018 is my favorite. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to either answer that question one day or just be politically correct with it, like I guess doing now.
Right. All politicians was like, well, they are my favorites. I love them all.
I like them all equally. Like they're like my kids. I like all my kids the same.
I mean, you've had some interesting guests. Like I have to say, like it's been a wide variety. It's been on just all over on the spectrum, and it's been doing. I've been going back and watching because I can't catch them on Sundays because Sundays is clean and grocery day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I gotta get ready for the week kind of day. Like it's just like let me clean, let me get my groceries in, go to Aldi.
I ain't mad at you.
Aldi's my spot. People still was like, man, you make a little bit more money, but doesn't mean I have to act like I make more money.
Hey, you spend what you want to spend on.
Exactly. And Aldi's have everything for me, everything that I need for a low price.
There you go.
See, they need to sponsor me. That's what they need to do.
Listening to this, listen. Here's an opportunity. Don't let it pass you by.
don't let it happen, man. Hey, listen. Faithfully, like I don't have too much loyalty or brand loyalty anywhere, but Aldi, I have brand loyalty in you. All right.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, we used to rock with Aldi's pretty hard. Don't live anywhere near one now, but there was a time when my now wife, previous fiance, lived down the street from one. Oh, we would hit it up. Oh, that was it. Aldi's. Quick run. Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, man. I grew up on
the what is it? The quarter. Maybe I wasn't there.
What? Put the quarter in the basket for the cart. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. I didn't know that was like a.
Oh, they still doing that.
Brand wide thing, but yeah. Okay.
It's a brand wide thing because when I lived in Indiana, when I lived in Atlanta, when I lived in Maryland, like I always found an Aldi. Trust me, I'm gonna find me an Aldi. But yeah, the quarter thing is universal.
All right, got you. No, that's what's up. Shout out to them for this segment they just got.
Right. That free advertising. The next one's
right.
Oh man, hey, listen, bro. I appreciate you for coming on.
My pleasure.
It has been a great conversation. I know you're a busy man. I know it. Is there anything else you want to say to the people? Anything you want to promote? Anything you want to shout out? Let the people know.
Yeah, check us out, STEMedia.com. That's one word or one M, STEMedia. Right now we have a streaming platform that's in beta. Ooh. And so we are building a library of content, of podcasts, of videos, webinars, and so forth and so on to empower your STEM journey. So check us out, STEMedia.com. Obviously, we got our summit coming up in November, STEMsuccesssummit.com. You can Google it or go directly to that website. And of course, follow us on all platforms, Instagram, but more recently, YouTube has been a big push, Dominique. So y'all go, if you're listening to this, watching this, go to YouTube and search STEMedia. Again, one word, one M, STEMedia. And then just lastly, I just want to say, hey, pass the baton. I mentioned earlier about the race that, from laboratory to practitioner, to teacher, to media communicator, like pass the baton, because there are a lot of benefits that people could have if they can just get exposed or introduced to the work that we do in STEM. And so, with that, man, all the best to you, to the audience, to the crew that didn't make this particular episode. I have to catch them next time, but keep up the good work, man. Keep up the good work.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. You keep up the good work because you're doing amazing stuff out here. You're doing amazing stuff,
bro.
You're doing amazing stuff. But hey, listen, this has been another amazing, as Jesus Amero says, illustrious episode of this podcast of At the Bench. I thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, I think I want to try another outro thing. It's like, stay healthy, stay hydrated, stay safe, man, and stay well. All right. Peace.